Hey, how's it going? Look at some signs, please. Okay. Let's see if I can get through this time. So I pulled 3 cards. Pulled 2 accidentally from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck. And the first one I pulled was number 51, Sky Spirit. So I have been having a lot of synchronicities lately with the night sky, and the metaphor that all of the stars, like each point of light, is another potential, like another possibility, and I mean, it is not going to mean anything to you, but it's just crazy that this came up today. And so we have going forward in the world, not just in the United States like I usually talk about, but the subtitle on this card is Limitless Possibility. And this person, with their meditating hands, or whatever this mudra is called, it's like your just basic mudra, I guess. This person, they come across as female to me, so she's in her lotus position and she's got her mudras, and she's pulling from the sky into those mudra tips. This part, it almost looks like code. Here, let me get it closer. Where's my indicator? There it is. So you can see coming out of the hands is a little string of dots, and then over here too, out of the glare, there it is. And where's it going? Up into this lit part. No, what's that? What's happening there? That's on. Somebody's in the office, possibly dealing with the code going up there. And I just wonder, like, if there's this place that's sort of interacting with this being, person, client, then this would be like an organized space. I almost want to say office or airport or something like that. And then all the expanse out here, like, it's just, the card ends, but the space doesn't, and neither do the stars. Like, that's not even really a metaphor. It's just reality. I mean, we could attribute stars as having the potential for being potentials, but I don't know. I'm just now wool gathering, I guess, and it's catching up in my throat. But anyway, this person, so calm and content, and they're in this calm blue space. I mean, it's like blue of nighttime, not like cold, dark winter night, but warm, springy, clear sky blue, like all fresh and everything, like fresh ideas. So that the person is pulling all of those, and then they're grounded by literally the ground. And I wonder if this sort of as above, so below space business is not fortifying this person's meditations. And I'm getting that they are not a personal meditator. They're sort of like a utility worker, you know, like I don't know if you will know this cartoon, but it was a Looney Tunes cartoon, and it was about a sheepdog that used to clock in and out. And why did I start talking about that? That's a good question. Oh, That's right, clocking in and out. So I feel like this person, like, since they're just doing like well, not just, but this, they're doing a sort of a general job, like reaching a great number of people instead of specifying and, you know, personally dealing with a single person, entity, being, whatever. They could be relieved, and I say that because they're like see-through. There's not much substance to them. I mean, they're just basically like vibration, and all of this body-looking stuff, that's for our benefit, because we don't know what to do with the idea of something just having its energy and no coding and packaging. Like, I mean, it would be akin to talking to lightning, although, and while I think that's fine, I would love to know what that's like. Not everybody wants to do that, and I recently was talking about lightning, and we have to we have to retain a respectful distance away from from its striking area if we know what's good for us. I mean, people have survived lightning strikes, and it's completely changed them. I would sure like to know more about how that works. I'm not like I'm not an accredited anything. Like, I'm not an expert in anything. I have no degrees, but I sure am curious about. I mean, it would even be better. Let me finish my sentence. I sure am curious about people that have been struck by lightning that have survived. Obviously, you can't talk to the ones that didn't survive. What am I saying? Okay, well, look. This is like a pure energy being, and they're sitting there grounding to this earth-like place on this stone bridge for the good of all. Like, they're just meditating and pulling in potentials and acting like a transistor or something like that. But acting like they're a being, and then they'll get relieved on their job, because someone has to be there to do whatever precisely this is that this one is doing. It has to be maintained, and there you go. Okay, so, oh man, what happened? I'm gonna read from the book if I can get it somewhere I can see with both the light and make out the little teeny letters. Okay, here we go. Stars in the sky. Limitless possibility. Embracing opportunity. When you look up into the velvety dark blanket of the night sky, covering the vast expanse of space, can you count on all of the stars twinkling above? Oh, can you count them all? Can you imagine that you are only glimpsing a teeny sliver of what is actually there? That this is the domain of limitless possibilities. Possibility. I'm not doing this well. I'll do better. Of the never-ending sea of potential that you yourself are made of and have now at your disposal. Your life right now is alive with possibility and needs your clear focus to hone. It's hone, not home. Hone in on what avenue of exploration most calls to you. It's time to choose and not be distracted by the sheer magnitude of what may be. Be here now. Gather your thoughts and your most cherished dreams. Focus on the brightest star in your never-ending sky, and take small steps, small movements toward calling this glittering potential into reality. If you can imagine this and hold that vision, you will summon all the celestial helpers and guides to aid you in bringing it into fruition. Keep your focus on the essence of potential rather than the form of it. The universe has its own ideas of how to best serve you and all of us at the same time. Trust that this is fact rather than theory, and you ought not act surprised when your dreams come true, for surely they will, exactly how you need them to. And I noted on here earlier, the last line was, for they will surely come true, your dreams, for they surely will, exactly how you need them to. And then I wrote, not what you want, what you need. And that is like always the case, usually. Every once in a while, you just hit like all of the boxes get ticked, but that's rare, you know, because seriously, spirit really does, like, you you may dream up whatever it is, the desired object or item, whatever it is, you may dream about it for months, years, whatever it is, and your focus is, I'm going to do that thing, I'm going to acquire that thing, I'm going to learn that thing. I'm going to do it. And then you forget what you're saying. Oh, yes. You just know what you want, and you get it in your head, like, so, well, I mean, rigidly, like, you're just all, this is how it's going to be, and there can be no deviation from my vision. But then God has other ideas, and they'll be like, well, maybe you're wrong about that. I can have a different perspective. I think and know that this would be better for you. And usually they're right, God. But like I said, they have a higher perspective or wider perspective, and they're also all-knowing, so that doesn't hurt, you know, when you want to know stuff, to be all-knowing. Okay, and so, oh my Lord, it's getting hot in here. The second card I pulled was Vanishing Mirror. Ego sublimation. So, well, this to me represents the forces of the greater good. This is about how, well, it's Vanishing Mirror. And the subtitle is, like I said, ego sublimation. But look at that. You already know ego's involved, and now there's a mirror. And so, if you think of, like, what was the movie with the witch? I guess it was Snow White. And was it that one that had the woman with the mirror on the wall? Yeah, because Cinderella had the evil stepmother. So, yeah, Snow White. The witch that, I guess never heard of Botox and and the plastic surgery people on botched or whatever, and just relied on this mirror technology. And I'm just gonna say that the technology was so old that the genie or whatever in the mirror was over it. You know, mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all? Girl, how many times do I have to tell you you're the fairest? She's not. You know, like, it would just be kind of over it after, I'm going to say, centuries. Let's just go along with my little story here. And so, it's a whole paradigm switch. Whatever, the paradigm changes because I'm just going to say that the genie in the mirror was sort of a harbinger for things to come, because he was like, God, man, you're just so shallow. All you care about is what you look like and what people think, and you made me a eunuch and stuck me in here, and I got to just look at you, and I got to look at all the good stuff out there, and I can't touch it because I'm in this mirror. And the mirror guy, the mirror genie, has got some resentment. He said, why? But then there's also that Snow White comes along, and she provides this witch person a whole new reason to be an idiot. And so she gives her poison apple, which doesn't kill her, but it sedates her for with the silly like Rumpelstiltskin kind of key to unlock the spell. She's got a like kiss Prince Charming. A good thing there is a Prince Charming in this story, because there was no internet. I knew you were going to do that. Right, so no internet. Oh my god, I just realized I have. Hold on. You know. Right down there, Happy Jack. Okay, so yes, no internet, and I don't know why. But I'm thinking of this as like Shrek World. My other option is King Arthur. They're all storybook characters, movie characters. But yeah, it wouldn't have been as easy to call around and locate someone, you know, like real old technology. Maybe there was pigeon deliveries, you know, homing pigeons. Anyway, so Cinderella gets introduced. Mirror Genie gets to see once again, like, God, woman, you're so shallow and boring and petty and mean. And the genie and the Snow White, like, I guess, let's just say that over time, as time has rolled and marched on for a really long time, that this witch has been saying this to this genie is why he's so disgusted and over it. Between that and then the witch's realization that, you know, Cinderella gets awoken by Prince Charming, and then I guess I haven't like put together these two stories, so I'm not sure where the huntsman fits in, but maybe it's like all those books about Oz that came after the Wizard of Oz that I did not read. There's more to the story. Well, isn't there always more to the story? But let's just say that between the genie just saying screw it and Snow White coming along, and then she's got like the dwarves are on her side, all the animals are loving her up, and you know, she's sneaking around being devious and ugly, and she loses in the end, you know, and eventually it all comes to her. And I would imagine that it was something like this, like, I don't have my looks, I don't have my fake looks, I can't steal some looks, I can't even get my mirror to lie to me anymore. My mirror busted out of the mirror. My ego is trying to fly in, and let's just say the witch is an empty shell. Wow, that was an interesting story at the end. It really does look like some kind of powerful force, for some reason, just is bursting through this thing. But I think I was onto something with the idea of the shattering of the ego, because you can't get rid of it, but you can certainly shatter it and pick up the pieces and put it back together and start over again. And maybe not be so superficial, shallow, and petty that your whole world revolves around what you look like and the yes man in the mirror. So the guidebook says, do you ever wonder if your self-definition has become too rigid, too fixed around what you've come to learn, so that you contract your life into zones of safe versus unsafe? Now that was hard to keep a question. That's like a three-line sentence here. Well, anyway, do you think that you could let loose of your self-definition for a minute so you can stop calling everything safe as opposed to unsafe, or good as opposed to bad? Because it's irrelevant, like whatever the character is of the person, place, or thing or event you're talking about. It's all just energy masquerading as something else because somebody, me, you, all of us, got some idea and we all collectively decided that would be fun to live through, so let's try it. So I'm just gonna move back to the book. After safe versus unsafe, this here is okay, but over there, well, that might be too risky. Judgment, fear, self-righteousness, and overconfidence are only some of the traits that keep you from evolving. We are all products of our conditioning, so remember that this is part of the human experience. Yet you're not meant to remain static, seeking only what you expect. Even if it appears ambitious, is it still too narrow? Well, even if it appears ambitious, oh, you are not meant to remain static, seeking only what you expect. Even if it appears ambitious, it's still too narrow. There should be an it there. You go nowhere when you hesitate to move out of your comfort zone. Well, that's true. Because if you don't move yourself out, some shock is going to happen to your life and move you and your life along for you. And that's usually when you're like denying signs and history and trying to pretend like things are not going to happen after certain previous things have happened, when you know that there's going to be a past, present, and future, like you just can't hold on to, you can't stop change. Okay, so don't get all sidetracked into something else. You are nowhere when you hesitate to move out of your comfort zone. When you focus too much on yourself this way, you become a servant of the ego. It edges God out, removing the magic of possibility. Imagine looking into a mirror and seeing only what you are now. If you can let your self-definition soften, moving beyond the veil to your potential, a magical emptiness exists where all things are possible. Look again. Who could you be? What would you see reflected if you allowed yourself to be other than how you define yourself now? Nothing less is required of you now. In this moment, let go of who you are, let go of who you think you are, and allow a new you to emerge. You will recognize yourself as what you are, a partner in co-creation, in service to the divine. Doesn't it feel good? Well, I mean, if you get rid of this and just dispense with all of the artifice and just be yourself. I kind of just work on that level anyway, so that doesn't seem like such a stretch to me. But I also have probably the most neglected mirrors in the 3-state radius, whatever. This just is also saying to me that there's a lot of egos in the near future that are going to be shattered because for some reason they're looking in their mirrors and they're not seeing behind them to their past and what they got up to and who they got up to with doing it. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So the final card I pulled was the Stingray from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck. And you will see that I've pulled this a lot, so I pretty much know what the book says. I'm going to grab it in a second, but I just want to point out that this Stingray has like all of the chakra colors in order in the position. Well, they're in the position for a human. I don't know how well they're going to correspond to what's going on in this fish, but the basic message is of leveling up and clearing your chakras in order to do so, I think is why they're highlighted there. And then so you can see them. So if you think about this creature, and also like after you have your Kundalini experience or awakening, or maybe you're just like a person who just is aware, and you're sort of in tune with yourself and what's going on inside of you, like with your chakras. So the thing about when you clear them, it makes room for new ideas and potentials and possibilities to manifest. And the channel of your spine around it for the Kundalini awakening is where that snake, Kundalini / snake lives. But the spirit energy, the power, is channeled, I believe, up through the spine, and all of the stuff around it is attendant. But you know, you're gonna make some sort of progression if you've got your chakras in order, and your head and your heart are on the same level, and this is all clear. Then you have very little in front of you blocking your way from, you know, finding a new career, a new significant other, a new place to live. You know, when we get rid of the old ideas and the old stuff that doesn't serve us anymore, then it gives us room to grow and learn, and that. And then I also wanted to say something that occurred to me earlier when I was looking at this. If you will recall, the Australian crocodile wrestler or hunter or whatever he was supposed to be, he was a nature conservancy guy. He was an animal lover, rescuer. I believe he had his own zoo, or definitely some kind of animal preserve, audience experience place for years that he developed, I think starting with his father, and then in the years following, when he married, he did it with his wife and his kids. And then he was killed by accident when he was in the water in Australia, and he approached a stingray, and I guess he surprised it because it attacked. You know, I don't know that it was all, I'm gonna get you, but it just sort of reacted because I think he just got too close and overconfident, because he really loved animals. But I guess this one wasn't tuned into what he was doing, because it seemed like it did sort of a jump scare and automatically just autonomously used its tail, which is its self-preservation weapon, and just nailed him right in the heart. And I don't remember if these are poisonous, but I know that it pierced his heart. I remember that. It has like some kind of barb at the end of its tail, the stingray does. I don't know, it's interesting because I always think of like leveling up. Every time I get this card, I think of it as like a younger person or an acolyte or somebody with not much experience. But really, why? This is one of those creatures that has been around for thousands, hundreds of millions of years. And it's kind of a fuck around and find out animal, because it's very beautiful and ghostly and placid looking as it's sailing under the water. But it has that, I mean, look at that tail. That looks like a whip. And that's pretty much what it did when it pierced Steve Irwin's heart. And I wonder if it didn't have some speed of sound action happening to just fly up and like, I think you had to pass through some sternum or some stuff like that to actually hit the man's heart. But it was the epitome. Like, there was no sound effect for it because they were in the water. Well, there was a splashing and whatever happened there. But when I think of a whip crack, I think of Devo's Whip It, which I just learned recently. That sound is not a whip cracking at all. It's some kind of sequencer that they were running backwards, synthesizer or something or other. But it's such a crisp, snappy sound. I hate to associate it with the man's death, but I do associate this tale with a bullwhip. So that's like that whole thing about Irwin and the stingray, but the leveling up thing, that's I guess I'm just gonna keep saying this until the end of time. It seems like things are going bad. There's a lot of arguing, there's death, there's climate disasters happening, and a lot of pain and anger and confusion, really. And we don't all know what's causing it. We don't all know that that's what's happening to us. Like, we can be so kind of out of tune with ourselves, out of touch with ourselves, that we don't realize what's bothering us. And yeah, there's so many reasons for it in our modern world with all of our, devices. And those things, they kind of take a lot away from us. And it's like, it's the new, what about the children? But I don't think it's a worry that is that big of a deal. Certainly not as big of a deal as with the children, because children grow up and out of that stuff. They're not that child anymore. So it's a whole different, dynamic there. But these are, like, I believe, pretty solo animals. I think I don't know what their mating deal is if they hang out with them, but I think they're single entities. And it would be hard to know, like, what exactly is this guy's version of leveling up. But we can certainly look at it and see it as a representation of our own leveling up. And it's such a, like, if the wrong thing happened around it, it could die very easily. But it's so deceptive looking that, like, Steve Irwin, who knew better, got too close and got too relaxed with it, I think, with this animal. And that still doesn't tell how this thing levels up. It's almost like, in this telling, it's not in the sea. It's like dispensing advice and guidance from an office chair in, oh my God, I don't even know what building I'm talking about. The building that everybody's in. Everybody who, I don't know. It's a fish out of water. It doesn't matter about the building. It's not even supposed to be in a building. It's a metaphor. But it really leveled up out of the water and into a building and went upstairs and had its own chair. Like, it's magnificent. Nobody saw that coming, including me. Where did that all come from? I don't know. But there you have it. Collecting the potentials. Shattering our illusions so that we can see clearly. Leveling up. Soft, deceptive, dangerous, do not. As far as a metaphor for us, I don't know. I don't think any of this is a metaphor for you.us or you.s.us. Not specifically, but generally, we could all benefit from taking a meditative moment and reaching for the stars and seeing what comes to you in that space of time. Again, this thing, I feel like this is one of those mirrors that comes back together because your ego gets shattered throughout your life so many times, and it just magically knits back together. It'll be in a different form and maybe look slightly different when it reacts and behaves than it used to for people that know what that looks like, but it can reassemble itself. And I think, especially if the genie goes back in it, or the whatever the dude was that was the yes man in the mirror, it's going to be like a much more positive, pleasant place to be for people and animals. And it's gonna really, the being in the mirror is really gonna try and change its ways and be helpful, which is a nice thought. Thanks. Oh, it looks like something blasted it from the back. I guess that's, you know, it is possible to like get caught unawares because your ego has got your mind so preoccupied. Well, that's unfortunate. They snuck up right behind the person looking in the mirror and still blasted them because they were so caught up in their image, which is a deception. And I already talked about that one. So those are qualities that I would ascribe to us United States humans for the coming days going forward and stuff. Thank you and good night.